Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I am a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows all over the great state of Alabama from 5 until 9. I am in Huntsville on WVNN. And then from 10 until 11, the fastest hour of radio anywhere on your radio dial. Yes, Talk 99.5 in Birmingham, on News Radio 1440 in Montgomery. And then at 3 p.m., back on in Huntsville. On Talk Radio, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, The Ump. Yes, I remember all of that every single week. Yes, Mecca Musick is here with us as well, and she is the CEO of 256today.com, and we have a lot to discuss with you. Mo Brooks will be making an appearance on this show. He's been on numerous times as a politician. Now he's a talking head, so we're going to have him on. Looking forward to talking with him. The former congressman will discuss a lot of things, including gambling, but I want to look at it from a perspective that he had back in the legislature like 37 years ago. So there we go. I don't know if it was actually that long, but that was when Joe Biden started running, I guess. So we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to do, so let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. All right, Mecca, let's talk about how Super Tuesday was. It was on Tuesday. It was super. It was fantastic. Everybody loved it. It was the best Tuesday that could ever be. That's how Donald Trump talks. So that's what I'm saying. So Donald Trump, he blows out Nikki Haley to the point where she just limps away the next day. Joe Biden gets out there, blows out his opponents, except for some random guy. I think his name is Jason Palmer, who won some territory. They can't even vote in the general election. And then there were a lot of non-committal people who were like, you know what, Joe Biden just doesn't hate Jews enough for me, so we're going to have a big problem with it. How super was Tuesday, Mecca?
I think it was really super. I mean, it wasn't the hugest election turnout, but I like it when people are involved. I like when they're passionate about issues.
You should have hated this.
Okay. I'm just saying, but there were people who voted. There were some interesting races. Moore, Carl, you called that one.
I did. You forgot about the amendment, which I personally killed.
You did not personally kill the amendment. Like, why would you say that?
I take credit for everything.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
that's how it works. Come on. All my massive platforms, I just decided I didn't want that thing to pass, so it didn't. All right. All members of Congress reelected. It's pretty normal. And then you have that race between two Republican congressmen on the coast.
Sitting congressman, yeah.
Barrymore defeats Jerry Carl relatively easily, but it was divided basically by their old districts. I mean,
it was, and what happened was Moore's district had a bigger turnout.
Yeah.
You know, where he was, they came out, was it 25 to 20%? I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it was something close to that.
Despite Trump's behavior, he's very popular amongst conservatives. Conservatives would obviously, I think, lean more towards Barrymore. Not that Jerry Carl's like some crazy liberal or something.
Right.
But I think they would lean that way.
But it's more like the rural voters want to come out, turned out to Trump. Exactly.
Yeah.
And those more align with Moore.
Okay, so now we have this other race. You have Dodson versus Brubaker.
Yes.
An unknown, with, as Jeff Poore last week said on this program, with a pretty good political machine, obviously.
Yeah, he said he was impressed with her, with the campaign.
So he was a little on board with that. Versus Brubaker. They're both spending their own money. Guys, the job doesn't pay as much as you guys are spending. It's a terrible investment. They're going out.
I think it'll work out for whoever wins. I think it's going to work out.
Okay, on the Republican side, and then Anthony Daniels and Shamari Figures running against each other. They're on the Democratic side of the aisle. I think this race, it's looking. Both of them got over 40%. The leaders in those races.
Yes.
That pretty much. Not for sure, but more likely they're going to be able to get the rest of that.
History shows with that much of a gap.
Yeah, especially when there's not like this crazy bad blood between all the candidates. I don't think that you have that in either of these districts.
I don't think so either.
Brubaker Figures race is probably what we're looking at here. Do you want to go back into the amendment thing and how I killed it?
No, not really. Okay. And aren't we supposed to be sticking with time this week?
No, we're not. Moving on. Let's talk about in vitro fertilization. Something we talked about at length last week, and we will have a discussion about it here. Again, I call this good government. Okay, I was told the day after this scandal broke that it would take 6 legislative days. It got done in 5 legislative days. It took about 2 weeks to get this thing done. There was some talk about how it could have been done a little sooner, but here we are, 2 weeks later. It's pretty much handled. There are some hiccups, though, that could come on down the line, and they'll have to deal with those as they come up. But UAB said, okay, fine, I'll restart. That's the key. That's what they were trying to get these things back fired up. And if they have to address it again, they will. I don't know about you, but I talked to lawmakers. They didn't know this was coming from the Supreme Court. They had no idea. They didn't push for this. And what did they do? They listened to the outcry from Republicans and Democrats and the national media and the local media. And then what did they do? Within 6 legislative days, they passed the bill. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people who want to pretend that this has been a mess and an embarrassment for Alabama. Sure, great. You saw the stuff at the State of the Union. Fine. But this is good government in action, doing what the people want quickly. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think this should be one of those moments that's a shining moment for Alabama, and everyone's like, oh, Alabama's so terrible.
No, I think the legislators did a good job to remedy the situation as quickly as they can, and I think they did still take it very seriously. Try to address all the issues. You mentioned though that there might still be some outstanding hiccups or something of that nature, and I think that is true, and I think there might be some more things that had to be addressed going forward. But for right now, yeah, I think the legislators did a good job.
Well, you have guys like Doug Jones, who is sitting on his toilet in his wife beater, tweeting out things.
Why would you say it like that?
I'm assuming that's what's happening at 4 o'clock in the morning. And he is tweeting out things like how we have to do away with the personhood amendment and all this other stuff. Guys, no, that's not going to happen. You have to operate not on what gets you clicks on Twitter. You got to think about what's happening in the real world. And I understand Doug Jones is done with the real world, and now he's into the Twitter world and trying to get CNN hits and stuff like that. But no, the personhood thing is not going to go away. You can't approach it that way.
There was opposition to this.
Because they wanted it to go further. And there was opposition on the other side that said, let's make sure we don't do this because every embryo is a life. And again,
that's what I meant.
Well, there was on both sides. The people who wanted the person thing, like Doug Jones, and then there's the other side who got, like I told you last week, I believe it's steamrolled, concreted, and then buildings
They're
built on top.
not as silent and powerless as you think.
Okay, well, they lost big here. I mean, but I'm just saying, they lost in this situation. They were not able to get what they wanted, but yes, they did try. All right, let's talk a little bit about gambling here. There's a new bill, there's new changes, there's all these other things that have gone on. I've watched as legislators have gone from no to yes to no. We have that happening. There's a battle between the House and the Senate. And Anthony Daniels this week told one of his colleagues, the House is not going to eat the cake the Senate baked. That's basically what he said. And now, granted, if they both are able to pull this together, they'll go to a conference committee, they'll have a conversation. Who knows what the monstrosity that comes out of there is, and then they have to vote on it again.
Okay.
But hold on. The response could be, well, the Senate doesn't have to eat what the House made. I mean, and that's why they're fighting about it.
No, absolutely. And you know, Anthony also said he wouldn't support anything that didn't have sports betting included. I mean, so
he wants Medicaid expansion too. So he's got two things. So he's got two things he wants that are probably not going to get in there. Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces here.
So is it dead? Is it going to keep moving? What do you think? You had called it. We had called it dead maybe like a few weeks ago.
I just think there's too many pieces here until we just break down and say we're going to let these illegal operators operate and we'll have a lottery and that's the end of it. The Porch Creeks, you guys can do whatever you want. Until we get to that, which looks like what we were doing,
right?
And things may change a little bit. Now they're arguing over the money. Yeah. Like where does the money go and these things. I'm just telling you. At this point, I don't know if we're there yet. They want it so bad.
They want it done, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to get on board.
Everybody wants something different. The opposition, you hear about, the churches. There's no noise about that. It is all legislators upset about where the money's going and the type of gambling it's going to be. It's not a moral crusade.
Quit discounting opposition that you don't agree with.
No.
Because it does still matter.
I'm morally against it.
And here's the other thing. Like, what is the latest date they set forth? Was like September 10th. Instead of the general election, that is handing any opponents to this gambling legislation a huge W, a huge win. I mean, that's your magic
They also
formula.
wanted it off they wanted it off the general election, which is smart. Which, by the way, if you're a legislator and you're like, hey, we got to move this thing off the general election because it will hurt Republicans, what does that tell you? I mean, what does it tell you who you're playing to in that instance? I mean, it's obvious here. I'm sorry, I don't like it. I don't like how it's being done. I never do, but we'll see what they come up with now. Hey, something I do like. Let's talk about that for a second. Mecca, always wrong, sat here telling me from the beginning of this legislative session in the months leading up to it, this is nothing. They always talk about it. They're not going to do it. You're going to be sad. They're not going to get it done. All those things. Is that not true?
It's true.
Okay, you said all those things.
I might have just been excited that you would be sad then.
Right, but I'm not because it finally passed.
There you go.
It was signed.
Are you happy? Is this what Dale wanted?
This is a step in the right direction. And this is what will happen. You will have this happen, and you will have people very happy about it. And then you will see it expanded. That's how it's going to have to work. You start off small, and you go from there. But they had people in the legislature talking about segregation, talking about how this is
segregation you pay for. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, and then you have segregation we're all paying for, I guess, would be their premise. And then you would also have people who were talking about it was a decapitation of the public education system. And I'm like, guys, it's 1%.
No, it is. I mean, but listen. Their job is to protect public schools. To stand up for public schools.
That's actually not their job.
Well, part of their job.
Their job is to serve the citizens of the state. And I would argue being 52nd out of 50 does not help you serve your constituents very well.
Listen, though, what was it Anthony Daniels who said? If there's potholes in Interstate 65, do you go and just build an Interstate 64 next to it?
No.
Or do you fill in the potholes?
No.
I mean, everybody on this side has valid points and valid debates.
I don't think that there's any problem with having a problem saying, hey, we don't want to spend this money on private schools. Fine, make that argument. But to imply that people who support it like me are for segregation academies and nonsense like that, I'm not listening to that. I'm not going to take that seriously. In fact, I want you to lose even more now because you're just implying that I'm like some sort of terrible monster. And I'm sorry, I'm just a kind of a monster, but I'm not that kind. I'm not that kind of monster.
We can agree on that. But I'm so curious, though, how much of an impact do you think this will have on private school numbers? Like, I'm going to go back in 2 years when it's fully implemented and see where we are.
Okay, quick story here. We're running out of time.
Please.
When I went to get my kid to his private school, I sent his mother and him first and pretended that I wasn't there.
Good idea.
So I walked in at the end and watched. And they went around the room and they went through what was open. And I looked around the room and I was like, there's like 400 people here for like 100 things. So that school may build on and take people in, or maybe later down the line we'll see some investment in private schools. But there are private school openings in parts of the state, like in the Black Belt, where that they do not have 100% attendance that will benefit from that. And that's great. Those are the ones that need help. You don't need help in Madison and in parts of Huntsville where I live. You need help in those areas, and this could provide that. This is not going to fix things tomorrow.
Right.
Remember, they delayed the Alabama Literacy Act for years. Why? Because there's so many kids that can't read at the 3rd grade level that you would have a bottleneck.
There were also COVID implications.
I mean, you're right. Correct. Technically correct, which is the
you.
best kind of correct. But it just also kind of misses the point on the whole thing. They delayed that because they knew what was going to happen. And guess what? It's going to happen anyway. Just throwing that out there. It's coming. I sound like Joe Biden. All right, when we come back, Mo Brooks will be with us. We'll talk with him about gambling and some other stuff here on Alabama Politics this week.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Oh, welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I'm Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Musick. Our guest this week, a former U.S. representative who represented Huntsville in Congress, but he's also been a bunch of other former things, former DA, former county commissioner, former member of the State House, and we're thrilled to have him here. Congressman Mo Brooks is with us. Now he's a talking head, so that's what we'll use him for here on this program from here on out. Congressman Brooks, let me ask you this question. You were down in the legislature a long time ago, a very long time ago, way, way long time ago. And when you were down there, I'm sure gambling was at least a topic of conversation. Are you surprised it's taken this long to get to this point?
No, not at all. And we've had it get to this point and further. In the past, you may recall that we've already had a referendum on a lottery and it failed under the Don Siegelman administration. So we'll see how it goes this time. Of course, I still have reservations about a government entity running a lottery because I do not believe that's a proper function of the government to induce people to lose their money. But nonetheless, we'll see how this particular bill works its way through the legislature.
Do you appreciate it more, though, that it's lottery, more lottery-based now versus when there were casinos going to be popping up all over the state?
Well, the casino gambling just adds to the nature of the problem. The lottery induces people to lose money that they need to pay bills. And, if you want to bet, say you and I, Mecca, want to bet on the Iron Bowl, I don't have any problems with that. What I have a problem with is when you've got a third party, and in this instance the government, that is encouraging people to lose their money. That's where I have a problem because I don't think that's a proper function of the government. I also have a problem with casino gambling because of the inducements to, again, lose money, particularly those people who are somewhat naive and look at it as a money-making proposition when it obviously is not. But that's a different thing from people who want to go to a casino and recognize that it's entertainment, and they're willing to lose $100, $200, $300, whatever they can afford just for the entertainment value of it. What I think the legislature should be doing, if we're going to go the gambling route, if that's the route we're going to go, is we should look at the model legislation in places like Nevada, where the proper role of the government is more respected. In this instance, the idea that the state government is going to set up monopolies, which in turn will result in windfall profits to a few politically powerful individuals who in turn, because the gambling profits, will be even more politically powerful, thereby diluting the influence that Joe and Jane Citizen has over their legislature, has over their congressional members.
I agree with that completely.
That's a problem.
Let me ask you this question. You've been in Alabama for a very long time, obviously, and you've been involved in the legislature. Are you surprised that the moralist side of this is sort of not here in this conversation? This isn't a conversation about should we do this. I understand for some people it is, but it's largely a conversation, especially amongst legislators, of how should we do this? Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't. There has been a significant decline in moral values in America for decades now. Things that are relatively commonplace that wreak havoc with people's lives are commonplace, like I just said. They would have been unheard of 3, 4, 5 decades ago. Quite frankly, people led much better lives, much happier lives, in my judgment, 30, 40, 50 years ago than they're living now. Now, on a materialistic side of the coin, well, we're a little bit wealthier nation, so materialistically, people are doing better, but otherwise not.
I'm curious, and I really want to get your thoughts. We just had Super Tuesday. Give me your take.
Well, I don't think that the scenario has changed one iota from where it was about a year and a half ago. And Dale's familiar with me having stated this publicly many times. With the Democratic strategy being to prosecute and convict Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's response strategy being it's to claim it's all witch hunt, it's going to come down to 4 jury verdicts. If Donald Trump is not convicted of a felony between now and Election Day in November, he's going to win. On the other hand, if Donald Trump becomes a convicted felon he's going to lose. The only two uncertainties at this point is whether Joe Biden will be persuaded by the Democrats to drop off of the ticket, or if Donald Trump, if he's a convicted felon, will be replaced by the Republican Party with someone who is not a convicted felon, or will the Republican Party go ahead and ride that convicted felon horse till it's dead? That's the open question. Will it really be Trump versus Biden, or will there be flexibility on the part of the Democrats because of Biden's senility, or will there be flexibility on the part of Republicans if, and this is a big if, Donald Trump is adjudged a convicted felon by a jury of peers?
It's my premise that if they're both alive, they're on the ticket. I mean, that I think is as simple as I can put it. I don't think either of these guys are going to get off the ticket. Donald Trump can't, and I mean, like, it's in his aura to just stay on no matter what. And Joe Biden doesn't know how to get off the ticket, so he's probably confused. So I don't think that's going to be a thing. But is Trump going to be able to delay? You're a lawyer as well. Is he going to be able to delay? Because like you said, if he gets to the end here and there's no convictions, you think he's going to win. Can he delay this all the way through the end?
Well, Donald Trump's legal strategy from day one has been to delay, to avoid that jury verdict that could be catastrophic for him personally and for his campaign for the presidency. So far, he's been successful at it. Time will tell whether he can delay things further, but I would add that the first criminal trial is still scheduled in March up in New York. And so he might be facing the first criminal prosecution in just a mere few weeks.
We'll see if that gets there and what happens next. Go ahead, Mike.
Let's focus a little bit on Alabama for just a moment. I'm sure you were also observing the Congressman Moore race. What are your thoughts on that matchup and its outcome?
Well, it's a shame that Barry Moore and Jerry Carl were placed in the same district for purely racist reasons, forced on the state of Alabama by the United States Supreme Court. I would hope that sooner or later we'd become a colorblind society. And certainly when it comes to college admissions, we're a colorblind society, according to the Supreme Court. But when it comes to redistricting, we're not colorblind. The Supreme Court is mandating that we take race into account to elect one select group, one minority, whenever it is possible. So, I'm thankful that Barry Moore won. I believe he is better for our country on border security and on deficit and debt, which to me are the two biggest issues, biggest threats facing America. But I hate it that anybody had to lose. It's not pleasant when you're an incumbent congressman and you lose a re-election bid, as Jerry Carl did.
Well, you brought up immigration. I want to ask you about this before we let you go. We're watching as it soared to the number one issue. The economy has faded off. Inflation has faded off. Threats to democracy. I think Van Jones said it great this week. He said people who are worried about threats to democracy aren't worrying about anything else going on in their life. That's like they're so comfortable that they get into these little worlds where the threat to democracy is the biggest thing. Do you believe that what we've seen in immigration, this large number of people coming across the border, we have Democrats even referring to it as an invasion at this point, something you used to get criticized for all the time.
Democrats on the border in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah, they're not only there, in other places in Chicago and New York and elsewhere. They sound like Mo Brooks from 5 years ago. Are you surprised to see that, and do you think this has any staying power to where something might actually get done?
No, it doesn't have staying power, not with Democrats or Republicans. A majority of our Republicans in Congress, in my judgment, are not for border security as the American people understand the phrase border security. Now, those Republicans, probably about 50, 60, 70% of them, they'll use the words and they'll talk the talk, but when it comes right down to restricting these tsunamis of cheap foreign laborers that are doing the damage to American workers' incomes, the establishment side of the Republican Party does not want to do what it takes. And, of course, on the Democrat side, 99%, if not 100%, are pretty much for open borders. They may posture a little bit to try to win an election, but when it comes down to casting that vote on border security, you won't get any Democrats of substance to assist with border security. And depending on the wording, you're going to lose a bunch of Republicans, too, who owe their allegiances to, say, the Business Council of Alabama, Alpha, National Farm Bureau, Chambers of Commerce's, rather than to Joe and Jane, blue-collar and white-collar worker.
That's why Mo Brooks is going to be a great talking head when he grows up. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to have you back on the program. Congressman Brooks, thank you very much.
Thank you,
We appreciate you being here, and we'll talk with you soon. Mecca's leaving, too. Man, the show's going to get so much better. I got a parting shot for you. It's Alabama Politics This Week.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. Thank you very much for joining us. Before I jump into the parting shot, let me first remind you to head on over to yellowhammernews.com. Sign up for my email blast, the 7 things you should be talking about today. It's available for you right there at yellowhammernews.com. You sign up there and you will be thrilled every single day when you get an update from me about the things you should be talking about that day. yellowhammernews.com. Right now, though, let's get to that parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at everyone that said, hey, why is everyone so upset about the crime in New York? You know, Alabama's less safe than New York. It's more dangerous here than New York City. Kyle Whitmire made this argument, and then Democrats across the state echoed it. They were taking on Tommy Tuberville, who was talking about the crime there in that city. And you know, Tommy Tuberville was right. There was no question about it, but it was proven even more so this week. Because you know what happened? They sent National Guard soldiers with AR-15s, M4s, down into the subway because of the out-of-control crime there. I don't hear Kyle Whitmire or Randall Woodfin or the Alabama Democratic Party advocating for the National Guard to take to the streets of any city in the state of Alabama in order to make sure we are safe. That's not an issue here. It is an issue there. We should be honest about what the problems actually are and what leads to that crime. It'd just be smart if we were, smart about it. There you go. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Alabama Politics This Week all over the great state of Alabama. We'll be back next week.